Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There are no accidents in God's timing. The same God who sets planets into orbit, the same hand that painted your fingerprint different from every other soul on earth, that hand guided you here today. And the reason is simple. You need to hear this now. For so long, you've carried the weight of wondering, am I really seen? Am I really chosen? Or am I just another face in the crowd? Maybe you never spoke those words out loud, but the question sat in the background of your thoughts, like a hum you couldn't turn off. Here's the truth you've been circling without realizing. God already declared you are His favorite child. Not because you won a contest, not because you've been flawless, but because from the very beginning, before you breathed your first breath, He looked at you and marked you as His own. Think about this. When a parent watches a child sleep, there's a softness in their eyes no one else sees. That's how God has looked at you. Not once, not sometimes, but every single moment of your existence. Even in your darkest nights, even when you thought no one noticed your quiet prayers or your hidden tears, heaven saw it all. And I know what your mind might say. But why me? Why would God call me His favorite? Let's be real. The world has trained you to believe favor is about performance. That love has to be earned, that you're only valuable if you check enough boxes or shine bright enough for other people's approval. But God doesn't operate like that. His choosing isn't fragile. His love isn't about human approval or the opinions of those who misunderstand you. The moment you entered this life, you carried a seal, a mark that said, "This one belongs to me." Maybe that's why you never fit the mold, why rooms felt too small for you, why conversations drained you when they were all surface level. You weren't made for shallow waters, you were made for depth. And God kept you for Himself because He delights in what He placed inside you. Picture this, a musician tuning an instrument before a performance. To the outside ear, it may sound like random noise, but the musician knows every adjustment is preparing the instrument to release its true sound. That's been your story. Seasons that felt random, moments that felt wasted, were actually God tuning your life. Because when the music of your soul plays, heaven calls it beautiful. And that's why you needed this reminder today. You are not on trial. You are not waiting for permission to matter. You are already God's favorite child. I want you to imagine walking into a crowded room. People are busy with their own lives, distracted by noise, faces turned in every direction. And then, one voice calls your name. Not just anyone's voice, but the one voice you've been waiting for your whole life to recognize you. That's what happens every time God speaks your identity back to you. He cuts through the noise. He calls you His own. And this declaration that you are His favorite isn't just a sweet thought. It carries weight in the spiritual realm. It changes how your life unfolds. It shifts how people see you. It protects you when you don't even realize danger is near. Because God doesn't just say things. When He declares, creation bends to match His words. That means the favor on your life isn't fragile. It isn't temporary. It isn't up for debate. I know there have been days when you've asked, why does it feel harder for me than for others? Why do I have to carry so much? But understand this. Diamonds don't form in comfort. They form under pressure, in the dark, unseen by the world, until one day the pressure gives way to brilliance. You've been under that same divine process. In the unseen, those who carry something precious often face the hardest tests, because heaven knows you're strong enough to carry prophecy. And now, God is bringing you into the season where He doesn't just whisper your identity in secret. He declares it openly, "This one is mine. This one is my favorite child." Sit with that for a moment. Let it break through the lies of unworthiness. Let it quiet the memories of rejection. Let it remind you that your value isn't up for negotiation. Let it remind you, the one who matters most has already approved you. Because right now, heaven isn't debating your place. Heaven is celebrating it. My dear friend, please don't measure your worth through how people treated you in the past, because how they acted around you is more about them than you. Maybe they projected their insecurities on you and you felt bad or unworthy in those times. But no, God's measurements are so different from people's. When you hear the words, "You are God's favorite child," something in you might resist. That's because the world trained you to compete for worth. To think someone else's approval means your value, and their rejection means your absence. But God has no favorites the way humans do. His favor doesn't divide, it multiplies. When He looks at you, it's as if you're His only one. Think of sunlight streaming through a window. One beam doesn't lessen another. Each ray touches what it touches fully without apology. That's how His favor works. When He declares you His favorite, He's not comparing you to anyone else. He's saying, "I see you entirely. I delight in you without limits." And this isn't just theory. Look back over your life. The times you survived when you shouldn't have. The moments you walked away from something that crushed others. Those weren't random breaks. That was evidence of God's hand already on you. Evidence of a father who protects his children. You may not have called it that at the time. You may have just thought you got lucky, or someone happened to step in, or you had a sudden idea at the right moment. But every thread, every rescue, every flash of strength you didn't think you had, it was all part of this one truth echoing, "You are God's child, and He will not lose you." Now, here's the part that changes everything. When God declares you His favorite, it doesn't just stay in heaven, it shifts things on earth. It's like an author writing a story. The moment they decide the main character's arc, everything else bends to serve that outcome. God has already written your story, and His declaration is the ink that doesn't fade. That's why you've noticed strange resistance in your life. Why some people seemed unsettled by you without reason. Why opportunities felt delayed, even when you were ready. The truth is, God was holding the timing until the announcement was clear. You are not a side character, not a spare, but the one He has chosen to showcase His love through. And that means the season you're walking into won't look like the ones before it. When you embody this truth, your prayers will feel different, not like desperate requests, but like conversations with a Father who delights in answering. Your presence will feel different. People won't just notice you, they'll be drawn to you without understanding why. And your inner life will feel different. Because once you accept this truth, rejection loses its power. The rejection you've carried was heavy because you thought it was the final word. But it was never the final word. God's declaration is. So when the next wave of doubt tries to whisper, when the next storm tries to shake you, you'll remember, storms don't erase a child's identity. They reveal the Father's protection. And hear me, this isn't hype. It's not about pretending life is easy. You know pain. You know waiting. You know what it feels like to give more than you had. But even in that, you've been sustained. Because you were never navigating it alone. Think about it. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still carrying hope, that's proof of favor. Many lost their voice along the way. Many buried their light. But you're still rising. And that's no accident. So let today be a turning point. No more wondering if you matter. No more measuring yourself against voices that were never qualified to define you. No more calling yourself less when God already called you His favorite. Instead, walk forward with this truth burning inside. When heaven looks at you, it doesn't hesitate. It doesn't weigh options. It doesn't second guess. It declares with certainty, "This is my child, my favorite one, and nothing can rewrite that." So go ahead, live like the seal is already on you, because it is. Every step you take from here carries more than effort. It carries favor. Every word you speak carries more than sound. It carries weight. And every time you remember these words, you'll remember who you are. A beloved child of a Father who takes pride in you. That's not wishful thinking. That's your identity. That's your inheritance. That's your truth. And soon, The world is about to see it too. And one more thing, my friend. I've created a new channel filled with worship instrumentals, Simplified Serenity, music designed for prayer, healing, and deep stillness. Just tap or click the playlist on your screen, and I'd love to see you there.